Hi, Scott.
Hey, Scott.
Hi,
Hi.
Scott. This is Mark Moppin and Reddy, my partner's on with you. We're
Okay.
honored to be able to have this interview with you today, and we really appreciate it.
Scott, are you able to hear okay, or do you want us to speak louder?
You sound fine. And do you go by Reddy or Surgeon?
You can call me Reddy. Srijan is my first name, but Reddy, people call me Reddy. So
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Are you ready?
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. So, so I met Reddy when he was going to college, and he worked with me, and never met a harder working person. So, and he graduated from Wayne State. And just a real quick thing about us. Reddy's helped with this, but I've done over 3,500 transactions in real estate, like buying, selling, rehabbing, handling real estate, and I do it for a lot of large charities. I handle their donation process for real estate. And then I handle lead generation for the largest dumpster company in Michigan. Done a lot of reputation management for some pretty well-known people, and we handle the internet marketing for two of the largest appliance associations. And I've probably got 60 or 70 appliance guys all over the country. And I'm a total entrepreneur. When I got out of college, worked for Shell Oil, and then later on the junkyard and all kinds of stuff. So, but anyway, that's enough on us. And we've read and looked at your website, and you're like, we've actually put together like basically like a magazine, or you're the very first person we've interviewed, but we do know how to put it out there, and after we've done the interview and put stuff together, we'll send it to you for your approval, so we're not doing anything that you wouldn't approve of, and then submit it, and we'll optimize it a little so that it's getting picked up, and that's what we would like to achieve out of this. And we're just looking for, I can, do you want me to get started with a couple of questions, or do you have any questions?
Sure. Well, I always like to start. What's the most important thing that we talk about today?
It would be like one of the things we're looking to do is like young people starting out, if you could give them some advice. Well, like here, I'll give you my first question and kind of give you an idea what I'm looking for. If you could time travel back to when you first started up in your business, and I realize it's the second generation, but and you had 15 minutes to talk to your former self and to communicate lessons that you've acquired, with the intention of saving yourself from mistakes and heartache, what would you tell yourself?
I got three things I'd say. Think long term, not about grandiose ideas, but what thoughts and behaviors, if you repeated over and over and over, would garnish you the right reputation, and focus on those things. Really, really think it through. The other one is just being really open to the value of your mistakes. We all make mistakes, and if you classify them as mistakes rather than opportunities to learn and see things in a different way, you throw away half of your work.
Yeah, I call them extensive seminars.
Yeah, well, I find them very most great. We've had just tremendous luck out of looking at our mistakes and learning from them, and actually are they mistakes or just trials, and it's much better to try things out and be open to what you learn from them rather than not being willing to try things. And the last really strong principle that I would really, really like to go back and fix is don't add too much value. If 10 is good, 20's got to be better. And making things complicated, making things, just adding great idea on top of great idea on top of great idea drowns all the great ideas. Keeping things simple is basically what it means.
Wow. Yeah. Oh, that's really great. And next question would be, if you were sitting down with your successor and you wanted to give him the key points in running the business, which you've kind of done a little bit of already, what would you tell him?
Well, because I do have a younger generation coming in of family members, and I tell them that your job is to keep the principles of the company intact. we got lots of smart people working for us, but what are you going to do to make sure that we stand for the right things, do the right things? Again, back to the long-term reputation. Think out how you're going to build the company's reputation, and that's what you stand for. You don't have to be expert in everything the company does, even though we believe that everybody needs to get their hands dirty, but different people have different strokes. But you got to, the leadership must be responsible for the principles.
Okay, great, Scott. And we understand that this is your second generation business. So
Actually, it's third generation, but that's a
okay.
small detail.
Oh, okay. So, what details or what tips did you learn or inherit from your parents or your grandparents?
Well, my father, would always say, observe the golden rule. And then I'd hear him say, I hate chasing money. We have 250,000 customers, so the average bill is like $30. And she says, it's so hard to collect money. How much effort can you put to collect $30? So he had a principle: always pay well. So he always paid his bills as fast as he could. Well, not as fast as he could, but within the reasons. He was never late on payments. He's fanatic about it. I mean, he'd absolute fit if a bill went out late. And that seems like, that's a nice thing to do. But then when we got the largest contract with the University of Tampa we ever had, and a month before the job was supposed to start, the factory that produced, the only factory in the world to produce the gas necessary to do this job, blew up. And the inventory went to near zero. There was the provider had 22 bottles of this stuff, and we needed 21 to do our job. And every other pest control company was asking for those 22 bottles. And they gave us preferential treatment on the historical fact for 30 years. We've been their best paying customer. We pay most promptly. And with that historical record, we absolutely turned into what could be an absolute disaster to one of the most profitable jobs we ever did.
Wow, that's a really good principle. Yep.
And people don't see as paying your bill promptly as a strategic process. But my father had that wisdom.
Great.
What three pieces of advice would you give to college students who want to become entrepreneurs?
Smile a lot, stay open. I think that's really critical. So many people get so focused, they get so driven, they forget that there's opportunity absolutely everywhere. You just got to stay really open to it and relax. Yes, think things through, be determined, be absolutely long-term and think things through, but be open.
Yep.
And just think things through. Make sure you're doing it for the right reasons. Are you doing it for the money, or do you want to make a difference with it? Have a calling in everything you do. You only live once, and it's not about how much money you make; it's how much difference you make.
You kind of already addressed the next question, but maybe there'd be something you could add to it if you like. Is there if there was a chance you had to start your career all over again, what would you do differently?
Wow. That's a little embarrassing to say, but I'd probably listen less. Because I think my own natural direction was very good, but because I had lots of relatives in the business. My uncle was also in the pest control business. My grandfather, my father, and they had great ideas, but sometimes I compromised my own ideas, and long term I realized I had unique insight that they hadn't managed to get, and I should have stuck with it a little bit and been true to myself, I guess is the
trust yourself, kind of.
Right. So did you encounter any bad experiences because you were listening to others?
Absolutely. I mean, when you half understood great advice, you can't execute it. I'd rather really know the subject and the direction of the company rather than think this is the great direction without really knowing it. And good advice can be great advice and be the right direction, but if you don't internalize it and actually grok it, which is understanding at a deep level, I don't think you just can't execute it.
Yep, that's true.
Got it. So,
So you got to own the ideas instead of just listen to great wisdom and try to execute their ideas. You got to make them your ideas.
Good. What would you say are the top 3 skills needed to be a successful entrepreneur?
Trust of oneself, willing to take on a challenge and diversity and turn it into opportunity, and the determination. You just got to persevere. Absolute, midnight, 2 o'clock in the morning, you just got to keep going. Just go. Can't stop.
There's a perception about a lot of CEOs and stuff. So when people so I wanted to ask, how many hours do you work a day on average, and how many days a week do you work?
That's a very hard thing to measure because I almost always go home before 5 o'clock in the afternoon. And this morning I arrived at work at 7:45, which is kind of early for me. I don't work long hours, but I do spend a lot of personal time reading, investigating, and studying just to keep myself sharper. So it depends on how you measure work.
Right.
I don't put hours in the office. It's not I'm just not that kind of person. I don't like sitting down doing something. I'm a very mobile person. I like to do things. And I'm not your typical CEO. I mean, just not.
Okay, great. So for you to be really successful and not put in so many hours, I'm sure you must be good at delegating stuff. So do you have any like a checklist or something, like before you delegate stuff to somebody, just to make sure everything is done right? How do you do it? Do you do a lot of delegation? Do you have people who you can trust in your company?
I've actually got a kind of a reverse delegation process. I let the people come to me. I make lots of mistakes, and I let everybody know that I've got lots of weaknesses, and people are always saying, Scott, I can do that better. And I say, great, and they usually can.
Okay, that's a good tip. Yeah, that's a good tip.
So I really do openly disclose my weaknesses. I got lots of them.
Okay.
And then how do you define success?
Adding value to lives we touch.
Good. And then what would be the best way to achieve long-term success?
Back to principle number 1, think long-term. What thoughts and behaviors will build the reputation you want, and then stay true to them.
Good. And then who's been your greatest inspiration?
Wow. I had my father and my grandfather are both incredible inspirations. My father, when I was born, I just got out of a year's stay in the hospital from polio, and obviously broke spiritually, physically, and financially, and went to work as a salesperson for Western Pest Control. And the people there were courteous enough to give this guy a job, and he'd hide his crutches when he called on customers because he didn't want people feeling sorry for him. But within 1 year, he got enough $2,000, which is enough capital to move to Arizona off an article in National Geographic about how bad the termites were. And he came out here and started the business on $2,000 with, 2 kids and physically handicapped.
Wow.
Oh, great. So I've checked your number of service locations, and I think you have about 150 or so locations. So what exactly, how has the company been growing? Are you in a phase where you're your aim is to expand into multiple locations, or is it growth per location that you already have? How do you gauge your growth?
Well, that's where thinking long term really kicks in, because we have an ambition to expand and to service lots of areas, and we've made lots of mistakes by expanding too fast and not thinking things out and realizing market penetration is efficiency and profit, and gives you the ability to expand, and expand faster than you got market penetration, you get upside down. But just for the record, we're in 63 countries. We have 200 offices outside the United States, 100 offices inside the United States,
Wow.
employing 4,500 people.
Wow, that's great.
But the companies are divided, so you won't find it any one place, the accumulation of the Truly Nolen label.
Okay, great. So, I mean, after you took up the charge as a CEO, so what can you attribute? I mean, what kind of success to the company can you attribute to yourself? Like, what were you responsible for?
Well, my claim to fame was my father told me I did not have that aptitude for running the company. You know, I just didn't have that focus and discipline from his perspective. So he said, don't plan on ever running the company. Just, do what you want. He was very smart. He gave me a salary, and he says, whether you work or not, you get this salary. Work because you love to work. That was a huge gift.
Right.
Because then when I started doing what I really wanted to, which was I like to investigate and learn and find new ways to do pest control services. And at the time, I was in charge of research and development, and I created new ways to do environmentally friendly pest control, which is using low-risk products. And I went into low-income housing and gave away free pest control just to experiment and learn. And I was blown away how effective these alternative approaches could be. And then in order to release my ideas, I got into the advertising and advertised this principle, and operations had to do what I envisioned because I was advertising it and had the technical data to back it up. And so they started practicing what I suggested, and the company went into a strong growth spurt. And I got a fax from my father, item number 7, it says, by the way, you're the president.
Wow. So you've earned it really well.
That's incredible. Yeah.
And ironically, I didn't tell my wife for 6 months.
So in spite of inheriting it, you also earned it now.
Oh yeah, you have to.
Exactly.
See, my older brother is named Truly. My younger brother's named Really. I got another brother named True Spider Luke, who goes by the name of True. And I'm Scott because my father was out of town when I was born, and I was named after the doctor. So everybody else has the company name except me.
Okay.
Well, I've got a lot more questions, but I think we've got enough from you. Is there anything that you want us to depart when we're writing this?
Well, back to this just being open to your mistakes. One of the greatest tools we have is our mouse car. I don't know if you're familiar with it. We take our cars and disguise them as mice, bright yellow with black ears on them. Have you seen them?
Oh yeah, I just saw it in the icon in I think Toby's email, but I didn't really think it was a car. So
it's a real car. We have hundreds of them. 300 of them in the United States, and then in every single of the countries we're in, which is 60 some countries, we have these cars disguised as mice running around. And that was actually a mistake. We were trying to make a Batmobile, and somebody said, "Wow, what a cute mouse!" And being open to that mistake gave us our icon.
oh, okay.
Wow.
Okay, cool.
That would be being open to your mistakes leads to success.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's like a great title or something. So, well, I think that I'm good on this to be able to sit down with Reddy and put enough together to ship back to
I got
you
one
for your approval.
more thing I'd like to share with you guys.
Sure.
That's the philosophy of principles trump rules. if you can have a principal-run organization, you have to have a lot less rules. And if you have a rule-run organization, nobody's making good decisions because they're too busy making and following rules. And principles lead to good decisions. Rules do not.
That's a great point.
Wow.
That's a great point. Yep.
That's incredible. That's good.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah. And Scott, like before, I have one final question. Like going forward, like how do you want to see any changes in your company, or how would you like the growth to be? Like, do you have any certain targets per year, or what's your aim for the next few years?
We like healthy growth, and with the exchange in the dollar last year was a first, less than 20% growth outside the United States in 25 years. So it's kind of a measuring growth in a dynamic economy with the dollar going strong. That's good, except it eats up in the exchange rate eats up your growth indicators. But we want growth through good principled processes. We want our salespeople to be open and interview the customer and serve the customer, not to sell. And that just builds real growth rather than just revenue short term, and it could collapse. So, as I said, we have 250,000 customers. That's a very stable environment, and you want those customers stable. It costs a great deal to turn those over. So stability in how you get customers is how you grow.
Okay, so that brings me to one more question. Like, since your company has been in existence for a very long time, you must have seen so many ups and downs, like recessions and stuff like that. So how did they impact your company, and how could you come up with solutions to still sustain or grow? Some people, I was reading about some companies that actually grew during recessions. Like, did you have any experiences like that, or how did you fight the recession?
Reddy, absolutely. We learned so much from that recession. We found that our highest quality products did best in the recession, which is contrary, to Starbucks. The $4 or $5 coffee was too much. We found that people believed the more expensive products, if you want to phrase it that way, were lower risk products. And so they actually, we had some of the most profitable years in 08 and 09.
Oh, okay, great.
But focusing on quality, which taught us long-term lessons, is that quality's still got to be your number one offering.
Okay, great. So, Mark, do you have any other questions?
No, but this has been an exceptional interview. Really
Right.
appreciate your time.
Right.
And we'll get ready now, put everything together, send it back to you for your approval. And then at that point, we'd like to do we'll do our magazine part, and then we'll also do a press release out on it too. So.
All right. Well, hopefully that served you guys, and you can grade it.
You did.
It definitely did, Scott. Great, okay. Scott. Thank you very much for your time. It's been really, it's been really helpful.
All right, Mark, ready? Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.